Good morning, everybody. This is Jordan Sather coming to you live on Thursday, February 21st, about 9 a.m. as of the filming of this. And we're going to be covering Q's post from yesterday about late morning up until even this morning. Just had a Q post a few minutes ago. So we'll be going through all of that. Before I give you my own insight, my own analysis into those posts, though, I want to show you basically the day's attack pieces, the day's hit pieces on Q. We have a few of them that I'll talk about before we get into Q's posts. Number one, Washington Post did put out the video yesterday where they used some interview footage from the interview I did with them. Personally, I haven't seen it yet, so I'm going to link it down below after I'm done filming this, though. You can go watch it if you'd like. You can see the dislike count there. Look at that. That's pretty incredible. But like I said, I haven't seen it yet. I actually want to film my reaction and then put that out with some of the raw interview footage. So I'll give you my thoughts on the piece and then the actual unedited interview, and we'll see what sort of damage they tried to do. But from what I hear, it was pretty miserable failure. They just stuck to the same old rhetoric, nothing new, and hardly used any footage that I actually gave them in there. So I probably made it a little difficult for them to stitch something together. But take a look at it later, and I'll let you guys know my thoughts on that with some of the unedited interview. If you actually look, just typing in QAnon into Google, you can see Washington Post put out another article just this morning talking about QAnon and trying to tie that in with some propaganda. But it's Washington Post. I can't view it because they'll make me pay, so I'm not even going to bother trying to view it. The Daily Beast put out one yesterday, and they're saying how fringe groups are using QAnon to amplify their wild messages. And in this article, they're trying to brainwash the American reader into viewing the Europeans as crazy conspiracy theorists and trying to tie Q into extremism. They're using the old Russia stick. That one just doesn't give up. They're saying Russian accounts targeted Americans and Facebook users with memes, etc., etc. And then they're trying to tie QAnon with German right-wing conspiracy theorists, extremists, and again, all that same failed rhetoric with no actual evidence, literally nothing behind what they're saying. And then one last one here, the AV Club. So this is a media magazine. The AV Club, they're owned by The Onion. Yeah, so they're pretty mainstream. They like to do some more joking, kind of ridiculing style of articles. And they're saying QAnon and Pizzagate popped up on NCIS New Orleans last night. And this is a short article talking about how Q popped up on NCIS and also trying to tie it to extremity using the old, Pizzagate shooting, opening fire in a DC pizza restaurant, that old story. But we know that that's likely very fabricated, concocted, not what they say it is. And they try to use that story to, again, tie QAnon, tie people who research into Q and Pizzagate, etc., as extremists, when definitely not. And here they are trying to link a dude named Travis View. Travis View is a Twitterer. I think he's got a podcast even where he tries to discredit QAnon. I mean, what a waste of time. What a waste of time and valuable life that is for the mainstream media and a lot of these journalists trying to bend over backwards and discredit Q. It's not going to age well, let me tell you. It's not going to age well. All right, now let's get into Q's latest. I'm going to refresh, see if we have any new ones. Do we? Yeah, we do, so I'll cover those. But I'm going to begin oldest to newest, doing this chronologically. And I think I left off from yesterday's video right here at post 2834. Q linking us a tweet from Sarah Carter. And this tweet from Sarah Carter is her own article that she put out about former FBI lawyer James Baker originally believing Hillary Clinton should be charged. So let's take a quick look at this article. And Sarah Carter essentially writes that James Baker, in his testimony and basically the beans that he's been spilling, you know, he's singing like a songbird, I'm sure, after he's been fired or forced out of the FBI to avoid punishment, worse punishment. But James Baker essentially said that, yeah, he believed Hillary Clinton should be charged and the investigations into her email should have gone a lot further. But once Baker talked to James Comey, that's when he started going soft. And James Comey, this article is really highlighting as being the stifler in a lot of investigations into Clinton. So James Comey acting as a, bad actor for the Clinton cabal, the Clinton cartel. And James Baker is speaking a little bit on that more now. Next post here, 2835. An Anon linking a tweet from Donald Trump from yesterday. And Donald Trump tweeted about a 22-second video of the wall being built at the border by the Army Corps of Engineers. That is Red Castle. Q saying, Red Castle, where have you seen that before? And us Anons, us Q followers, we saw that almost a year ago now. It was back in March of 2018 that we first got the hints as to Red Castle, as to the military, the Army Corps of Engineers, being the ones that are going to build the wall. And what a Q proof. One of hundreds, one of thousands that we get. It's Red Castle right here. And Anon posting that proof from almost a year ago now, the Red Castle proof. Let's take a look at it. March 23rd, Q posted, 2018, Q posted clock-activated Red Castle, Green Castle. Red Castle, which is the logo for the Army Corps of Engineers, is located. Green Castle, IN, what is that, Indiana, I believe? Red Castle, Green Castle, we get that proof almost a year ago, and that is coming to fruition now. The Anon says, beautiful video. Linking another meme, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, we build stuff for national defense. Q saying, what an amazing coincidence. Wow. Moving on, post 2837. Q linking a tweet from Representative Adam Schiff. And Adam Schiff is trying to cover ass for Dan Coates. Dan Coates being put on blast by Q. And a lot of these bad actors are trying to show their support for him now. You can guess as to why. You can connect the dots there. Adam Schiff says Dan Coates has been doing an outstanding job as Director of National Intelligence. Back here, Q says, we really started something, didn't we? Well, now we know he's a bad apple. Fly Coates, fly. So now that Coates is, of course, leaving the Trump administration, being put on blast by Q, a lot of these bad actors are showing their support for him. And boom, truth shines, dark to light. Now we know he's a bad apple. Good stuff. 2838, next post. And it says here, let me just check the chats real quick. Looks like everything's okay here. 2838, Q linking us a CNN article. And the headline of that article says, Justice Department preparing for Mueller report as early as next week. Right after Barr installed. Q questions, what a coincidence. News moving fast. Q. And right after Barr installed, William Barr, now installed as the Attorney General, and Mueller's report is now being prepared even as soon as early next week, possibly. So news moving fast. What a coincidence. All of this is lining up. Hammer's going to be dropped soon. 2839, Q states the sequence. 1, Mueller report to DOJ. 2, release of OIG reports. Q saying Mueller must deliver report to the Department of Justice prior to the Office of the Inspector General releasing the next installment. You will understand why in the coming weeks. We'll see how that all is supposed to line up. Now we're getting into some Ann Coulter being put on blast, showing up in Q's drops. And Anon says right here, Ann Coulter is now a never-Trump conservative. That's funny. Q emphasizing that post, saying Mitt Romney, Mitt Romney, Mitt Romney. Wire transfers are a convenient way of transferring money, huh? And then the next drop, 2841 here, Q links a tweet from Ann Coulter from back in 2012. About, what's that, 6.5 years ago? I feel sorry for Mitt Romney, but sorrier for the country that will never have him as a president. Of course, that was right after Obama defeated Romney. Ann Coulter supporting Romney there. Happy hunting, Q says. So we can look back through all of Ann Coulter's tweets and show her flip-flopping, show her literally flip-flopping. That's exactly what Q says in this next drop, 2842, giving us that tweet again about Ann Coulter supporting Mitt Romney. And then this one here, a tweet from just a few days ago, about 4 days ago. Poor Utah Republicans, if only they had a carpet-bagging, flip-flopping, Trump-bashing, clueless twit of a Senate candidate. Oh, wait, ... So Ann Coulter just blows whatever way the wind does, and Q is essentially telling us that a wire transfer could have been made to Ann Coulter from Mitt Romney to get her to start saying things for him. Q says hypocrite, history of flip-flopping. What made her flop this time? I don't know if a wire transfer made her flop, but sure says a lot to somebody who will say whatever for the dollars, like Ann Coulter apparently. Q says shills come in many forms. Shills are not just nameless, faceless trolls that dig in the darkest depths of the internet. They're also some people with nationally renowned names and faces. Shills come in many different forms. Race to build a base, followers to build worth, to draw funds. That's what many shills do. They build a platform, they build a following, and then that gives them a little bit more money when any sort of politicians or even intel agencies, want to pay somebody off to say whatever they want. Common these days, Q says, yeah, most definitely. Next post, 2843. And we get a post that's emphasized here. I can't quite see it. Not sure what it said. But Q saying, but you knew that already. Hence why Adam Schiff, some attorneys out of New York, and Maxine Waters, that's what those acronyms mean, are attempting to keep the insurance scheme ongoing post-Mueller. An insurance scheme that's going to help delay their downfall, delay the inevitable, declass and arrests. They want some sort of insurance once Mueller's investigation is dropped, but it's not going to work. That's what Q's been telling us because they're scared. Fear. The fun begins directly after that OIG report drops within the next couple of weeks, and Q's saying that will make the Super Bowl look like a puppy show. I'm very excited to see what the next couple of weeks will bring us. Next drop here, 2844. This gets into this morning. This one's from just 45 minutes ago. Q linking a tweet from Julian's Rum. Shout out to Julian's Rum. I like that guy. He says, holy shit. Now this is a Q-proof skiff DC-cap, Capitol Hill and DC and skiff. And let's take a look at that Q-proof. So, a little over a year ago, year and 1 month ago, 29th of January 2018, Q gives us this drop saying, what was the Senate confirmation vote regarding Rod Rosenstein? Why did Rod Rosenstein beg Paul Ryan to block the FISA memo from congressional review further advancement? Real time. 7 congressional members, plus 3 senators, plus 2 former Obama senior officials, plus 4 outside contractors with no classified, top secret, sensitive level clearance were at a skiff in DC Cap. I'd imagine that means Capitol Hill. There. Top secret clearance is mandatory for admission. So how is it possible that we got people in there with no top secret clearance? We see you, Q says. Now remember, this is from 13 months ago. Now, let's go back to that Julian tweet here. This is the Q proof. So just yesterday, Paul Sperry, I believe who's a Capitol Hill reporter, says, breaking, McCabe said Rosenstein tried to bounce GOP Representative Devin Nunes, head of the House Intel Committee, from the Capitol basement skiff when he and McCabe briefed the Gang of 8 about opening an espionage and obstruction investigation on Trump in May 2017. They tried to get Devin Nunes out of there, out of the Capitol basement skiff. Holy crap, Q was telling us about that. Sorry, let me go back to Julian Rum's tweet. Q was telling us about that. Boom, over a year ago, DC Capitol basement skiff. Now, in this drop today, Q says, what is the process to enter a skiff? I would imagine you gotta log your name in, do something to that effect to get into one. Q then says, what is the security level, or what security level must exist in order to gain entry? As far as I know, that is a TS-SCI. Top Secret Sensitive Compartmented Information Level Clearance, TS-SCI. Again, that's as far as I'm aware. And according to Q's post a year ago, there were individuals, outside contractors, who did not have that clearance who got into this skiff. Do logs exist for each designated meeting? Huh. I'd imagine they would. Do logs record time in, time out? Who in, who out? Huh, I would imagine they would. Ability to enter a range without a paper trail. Is there? Q knows. Obviously, Q knows. So there's a way to figure out who in and who out. Real time, January 29th, 2018. Identity, not for anons. Identity, January 29th. And run back 1-2, not for anons. These lines, not for us, probably for somebody out there reading the boards who they want to let know some piece of intel. Skiff logs can be very revealing. Hussein's United States Secret Service code name was Renegade. Define renegade: a person who deserts and betrays an organization, country, or set of principles. Synonyms: traitor, defector, deserter, turncoat, betrayer. Well, now, that's revealing. And we're going to learn some news that's not going to age well for some people. And then in the last post that we have here, I'll refresh it one more time. And there's another one. So post 2845, this one from 20 minutes ago. Elizabeth Coe from Tampa Bay Times here, doing on a balanced story on Q for the Sunday's paper. Wanted your input on the biggest thing that happened this week. Will be a fair article. Been following this board somewhat, so save the flaming comments and give honest input. Interesting. We are the news now worldwide. Let's see what this was linked here. Ed Poole put a tweet out that says, I canvassed for months with a hernia to get Joanne Ryan Enfield elected as a Labor MP under this leadership and this manifesto. If she is no longer Labor, she should trigger a by-election and let Enfield residents decide. Then John McDonnell says, Q. Wow, looks like we have some politicians from Europe starting to show their support. That's interesting. And then we have, apparently, Elizabeth Coe from the Tampa Bay Times literally asking the Chans for help with her story, which is very good. I mean, mainstream journalists finally going to the source. And hopefully, if this is actually her and she does want to actually do a balanced article, wow, big stuff there. Not like the Washington Post just taking a couple clips out of somebody's interview and doing whatever they want with it. So very good. I mean, truly, the first mainstream media journalists that cover this honestly and fairly, they're going to make history. They're going to make history, and it looks like they're getting the courage and the ability to begin to do that. So I'll be watching the Tampa Bay Times and see if anything comes out of there within the next week. And then this last post, 2846, that we have here from 16 minutes ago. Tweet from, let's take a look here. QAnon FBI episode 13. This tweet from Judah's Trumpets there. Q, who the hell's Q? Looks like we have another media production on video talking about Q, much like NCIS did a few days ago. Be ready for the QAnons. Woo! First time reading this one, so I like that. Eyes on increasing, adding to who's following each day. You are the news now. Handle with care. So there we go. Be ready for the Q. I would imagine, maybe that'll come within the next couple of weeks. Maybe we'll see that asked after Mueller's report drops, after some possible D-class, and then the Q happens. Who knows when, but be ready. As Q says, handle with care. Be very careful with the information, the claims you're making, with the evidence you're sourcing, making sure that you have the facts, that you have them legitimate, that you're separating your theories, your speculations from the actual facts that you have established. That is one thing I've noticed lately in comments and on YouTube videos, is people running with their own theories and speculations and whatnot, but they don't actually have too much of a logical basis in that. Handle with care. Let's be loving. Let's be compassionate to people who are trying to discredit, who are lost right now, who don't know what's going on. You might hear people trying to call you names, be mean, be ridiculing, or whatever the case, maybe disagreeing with you vehemently. You got to have compassion for them, but then again, you have to source logical, evidenced information. Handle with care. I'm just kind of giving you some tips and tricks how I try to handle things with care. How else can we handle with care? Well, of course, don't try to subvert the message. Don't try to put out any clickbait, put out any sort of, again, harmful information. attacking information. A lot of ways you can imagine that we need to handle this with care, but we are the news now, so it's very exciting that the digital citizen journalist is really, we're coming into the age of the independent, the age of the independent, the age of the authentic, and the journalists in the mainstream, even citizen journalists, any journalist who does this authentically, like Elizabeth Coe from the Tampa Bay Times, if she's asking 8chan for help, well, that's good. And if she wants to do a fair report, that's good. She's going to become the news. Us citizen journalists who do this honestly and fairly, we're going to become the news. All of you Anons out there on Twitter, on 8chan, doing the digging, doing the reporting, you know, all of you help with the news just as much as everybody else does. Okay, so there you go, guys. I'm going to refresh this one last time. Let's see if we have any more. We don't. So that's it for this one. I will be back later tonight or tomorrow, depending on how much and when Q drops with the next report like this. Hope you enjoyed it. Be back soon. Take care, everybody. Thank you.